everybody in advance. And what is our strength like? Because, there was a really nice presentation I had done over this last week, but it is predominantly meant for women's health, even though this is not Women's Month. Maybe we'll be selfish a little bit and have all the men also probably listen to it and share it with their loved ones, sisters, mothers, granddaughters, daughters, whoever that is. But I thought this presentation was going to be very helpful. In fact, when Dr. Rao had attended the presentation where I had done it, and he said, Lalita, I think you should definitely share this with India Home members too. So with all your permission and with due respects, I'm going to share this presentation that I'd actually done this last week for a lot of Indian Finnish women. This is from Finland. These women are from Finland, and they were looking to understand about women's health and how to do. But generally, I thought the whole purpose of that presentation was how can you give more care to yourself. The presentation itself is called Total Love and Care, yani TLC, like we usually say, right? Total Love and Care. So Geeta ji, whenever you're ready, I can go ahead and start.
Yes, please.
Okay, awesome. So is everybody ready? Just with the hands up, quickly, everybody show me, are you all ready for Diwali? Yes? Cool, awesome. सर सबके घर में ऑयल रखा है, सबके घर में नमकीन और स्वीट्स बन रहे हैं शायद. एवरीबडी इज थिंकिंग कि क्या बनाओ इस बार दिवाली में. आई एम श्योर एवरीबडी इज काइंड breaking their heads over what to make and how to give good goodies to your friends or your family or your loved ones. Diwali is always a fun festival in our household too, and we all get excited. And I think for the biggest thing for me was to get new clothes. But today's presentation that we are going to talk about is total love and care for yourself the nutritious way. And this is mainly kind of geared towards women, but even though it's geared more towards women, a lot of it is applicable to the men out there too. And maybe also as caretakers, as spouses, you can definitely kind of share this with your spouse or talk about this to your daughters, to your granddaughters, as I had said, to your friends or to your sisters or your loved ones is what I would say. So what I really wanted to bring into essence here is how do you take care of yourself, put yourself first and give that extra attention. And a few things, because I already know all of you from the past, I'm not going to give a introduction of myself and everything. Everybody kind of knows who I am and what I do. So I'm not going to dwell on that, but mainly wanted to share a few things since we have done a presentation for over 1 year now with all of the India Home members. I've been doing this nutrition and dietetic services for over good 20 years now. And I also have a qualification of being an integrative wellness coach. And if you do want to come in for individual consultations, or you do want to come and talk to me about your specific ailments that needs attention in nutrition, I'm available. I'm definitely available for consultation. I also am a performing artist. I do have a background of doing music and dance for many years in not in college, but having trained professionally. So I do Indian classical music, which is Carnatic music, and Bharatanatyam. So just I wanted to give a little bit FYI to everybody. I see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of wonderful people who have always been there to support. So without much delay, what is it that you can do with regards to total love and care for your health? As far as your health is concerned, it is very important to take into consideration what you've had in the past for your health, which is very critical in my opinion. So if you've got a history of past ailments of GI problems, or you've got a history of past ailments of respiratory problems, or you've got a past history of concerns with mental well-being, which is one of the taboos today, that if we talk about it, people still kind of look down upon you. And I really would like to bring it to all our attention that every single individual has mental concerns or mental well-being kind of disrupted at many different times of our lives. And it is okay to talk about it. It is very important to talk about it. More so, this can be affected because of nutrition aspects too. We don't realize that, but a lot of what we eat is what we think and what we do and what our actions are. So please pay attention to that. And if you feel like you're having a mode of depression, or you're having a bout of, restlessness, anxiety issues, like this feeling of not in a lack of interest in doing things, talk to somebody, talk to your loved one, talk to a friend, talk to a member who you can, who doesn't judge you, somebody who you can talk to. Please address it early on, because there is a lot of concerns, especially today. After COVID, we have definitely seen it a lot more. And the reason why I'm dwelling on this topic is lately we even see that the younger generation are going through a lot. Like people my son's age, they say, Mom, even if we don't have depression, it doesn't mean that we don't go through mental problems or emotional distress. We do go through it, and we talk to a counselor, and they do have somebody at work who they talk to. And I think women are probably a lot more expressive in that sense. At least we come out and we vent about it, we speak about it. We still see that men are a little bit more, uptight and rigid with expressing it. So if you do need to talk to your spouse, address it with a spouse, see your loved one that they are not doing the right things, or they are going through a phase of emotional distress, please address it. So all of this that is in the past kind of carries forward with your current health, which is what you are today. What I am today is definitely very important as to what I'm going to be in future too. So your current health is very important. And as far as women are concerned, when you are in the reproductive stage of life, when you are bearing babies, when you are pregnant, it's very critical for you to pay attention to that as well. And the kind of health, the care that you take. So anybody who is in your family, who is expecting, who is pregnant, or who is, going to have a baby, please address that it is a very, very important phase in life. I'm so sorry. Today I'm getting very disturbed with my jewelry, but I'm going to cover myself. But what I'm trying to get here is that the reproductive health of a woman is very, very critical. And it is almost like it is a big foundation in her lifetime. The prenatal care, and also afterwards, when you are in menopause, or when you are approaching menopause, or later on, it is very important to pay attention to the different aspects in your health. How can you do this? Now, this is a very general thing that both men and women can focus on. It doesn't mean that, since this topic is focused on women, that men will not be able to address to some of these concerns. One of the most important things, which is a big concern today, especially in this country, is insomnia, lack of sleep. A lot of people today around us have big concerns, especially as you are increasing in chronological age. We do see that sleep is a big disruption, and that it could be a major concern, regardless of what time you sleep. And I do see that as we get older, we may end up catching up on our sleep during the daytime. Some of the times when you're not able to sleep in the night, you may end up sleeping in the daytime. You may have a cat nap, you may have a power nap. That is all okay, but you need to get at least 7 to 8 hours of good sound sleep, where you put your mental thinking and your brain work to rest for a few and make sure that the body is doing its own work in terms of cleaning it up, in terms of recycling the cells and all of that. Move your body, be dynamic. Many times we also get very used to, and we are, humans are, a matter of fact, they are very used to habits. And once you set your way of doing certain things, let's say if we are running or if we are walking, we only want to do that. We don't want to do different activities. It is very important to be dynamic in doing physical activities, because this way you actually provide the body to do a lot of different moving with different physical activities. So once in a while, try and see if you can do walking if you are actually doing some physical sports. If you are doing generally for most seniors, if they are used to walking, it is also important that you do some weight resistance exercises. Very, very critical. So just carrying a couple of simple weights, dead weights can be helpful, or just adding natural resistance and doing some physical exercises, which you do through yoga. That can be great. Keep the child alive in you. I'm sorry, before that, eat to sustain. What does this really mean? We are all well-rounded with sufficient amount of food, at least in the environment that I'm talking about right now. There is no lack of food, but are we getting sufficient nutrition in that food in every single meal is something that you really, really need to focus on. Whenever you put the food in front of you, please pay attention to details of, am I getting all that nutrition that I need? Am I getting the calcium that I need? Am I getting the vitamin C that I need? Am I getting the vitamin D that I need? Some of the things which are very, very critical, especially for women, I'll be talking about it a little bit more. Keep the child alive in you. This I cannot emphasize enough. I think people who live long, just like Goelji. Goelji, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Goelji being one amongst us, who is one of the most senior persons in India home. I'm sure he has a child in him too. And I'm sure Purnima is complaining about it once in a while and cribbing about it. But who doesn't enjoy the child in you? I would love to have that child in me alive always. And I think that's what keeps that spark, that zeal, and that zest in you. So everybody, please keep that child alive in you. Never let that child go away from you. That little naughtiness, that little quirkiness, that little, extra charm that you have, please always keep that alive. Whether you are 100 or a 10, it doesn't matter. Make your body feel happy with hydration. Almost 70% or more of your body is still made of water, you guys. So make sure that your body is fed with sufficient fluids. Yes, you have to be cautious if you are on a fluid restriction. But that being said, getting sufficient water, at least 6 to 8 cups of water a day, is very critical. Supplement and nourish only as needed. I have said this a million times before, many times before, ki whether you take a vitamin pill or whether you take a supplement, please take it after you address your doctor or you address a nutritionist or a dietitian. Don't just take it out of the counter and think, oh, I need this more or I need this more. Yes, as you are growing older, you will see a lot of deficiency, but there are specific ones which you probably get more easily deficient than other foods. For example, the vitamin, fat-soluble vitamins, you don't get deficiently as quickly, but vitamin D is something which you definitely need to focus on. Add passion, spiritual enhancement, and affirmations. And I'm very sure that India Home members are given enough of that, or avenues for enough of that. Geeta ji and Kavita ji really work hard to kind of keep your passions alive. They add a lot of engagements, which is bringing spirituality alive and also bringing positive reinforcement for you. That is what I mean by affirmations. So every day when you get up from the bed, make a positive affirmation for yourself. I will smile and I will keep myself happy all day today. I will do something healthy for myself. I will eat at least 3 fruits and 3 vegetables, through the week or through the next 2 days or something like that. Make strong affirmations for yourself as a person. I will only put good thoughts into my mind, and any bad thoughts that come along, I will just let go. Things like this really, really matters. And when said aloud or said 3 times, it really makes a big difference. So with that said, I just wanted to share some facts about how we are looking as a demographic around the world. Asian Indian Americans are still at big risk for cardiovascular disease. Don't ask me why. We should probably ask God why, but whoever made us, we are at high risk for cardiovascular disease, being the top, especially for high mortality rate. The second important thing that's going to alarm all of us is communicable nutritional conditions, which was really alarming for me. Anything to do with nutritional deficiencies, nutritional problems that is communicable. So anything that is like, spreadable conditions, these are things that you can also be very vulnerable to, that within the Asian Indian community is big. Non-communicable diseases come out to be third. Respiratory diseases come out to be fourth. Injuries and accidents and mishaps come out to be fifth. Cancer and diabetes is actually taken a lower level. Before, it used to be cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, and then the others. So now, as we are looking at our population to become a lot more affluent, lot more educated, lot more, how do I say, lot more, reachable in terms of getting a more comfort in your life, or getting a lot of riches in terms of commodities and getting foods of different varieties. We are actually looking at a lot of nutritional issues to be one of the biggest concerns for mortality. I just wanted to bring this to your attention. Ki we are not a group that is looking at malnourishment. We are a group that is actually probably overnourished, and we need to check on our nourishment, because we are probably overnourished with calories and undernourished with nutrients. So that said, what is one of the most important things, especially for women? Please pay attention that women do lose muscle mass, especially South Asian women do lose skeletal muscle mass and have a higher percentage of body fat, including health damaging deep subcutaneous and visceral fat around the stomach, which puts them at higher risk for diabetes and heart disease. So protein of any kind is very critical here. And I have spoken about this many times before. And you would ask me, so Lalita, how do you find out whether protein I'm getting is enough? I mean, there is a lot of ways you can do that. But on an average, if you are about 60 kilograms in body weight, you need 60 grams of protein. Let's say if I'm 50 kilograms in body weight, I need 50 grams of protein. But if I am, functionally a very active person, then I will need a lot more than just 50 grams of protein. And I'm going to be talking about that. If you are a vegetarian, you need to ensure that you get more protein, or a combination of protein, where lentils come along with, grains, or dals come along with pulses, or, you have to do a combination like rice and dal, or chapati and dal, or khichdi with dal and rice. So this is the combination that you have to have if you are a vegetarian. Of course, if you are a non-vegetarian, you do get a lot of the building blocks of protein, which is the amino acids, which you don't have to be too concerned about. But yet, if you are a non-dairy consuming person, you do need to get those from other sources also. For example, if you don't drink regular milk or cow's milk, you can probably have almond milk or rice milk or oat milk or other sources that provides vitamin D, vitamin A, all the fat soluble vitamins, because that's where you get it from the dairy products. So this I wanted to just stress upon was, why is protein so important? Something called sarcopenia, which I have spoken about in the past. I don't know how many of you remember about it. Sarcopenia is a condition where you start wasting. You feel like you're really only having more skin and more fat and less muscle, where your bones become weaker and you start losing the integrity of your body, or the fitness of your body kind of goes down, or the strength goes down. Also, when you are deficient in protein, when you don't get enough protein, there are other nutrients that do get affected here, and those are B12 vitamin. Very, very important for your neural function and for your brain function. If you do not get B12, the biggest concern is having forgetfulness, low memory concerns, memory loss, dementia, and other concerns that can be major problems. Also, vitamin D, which is very important for your mood concerns. So if you are feeling very moody, you're not feeling happy, you do need to get some sunshine. And that is, of course, very difficult at this time because it's starting to get cold. So if you are even able to get a half an hour of walk during the time that the weather is good, bundle up and go out if you can, especially when the weather is not really bad. Try to get some sunshine. Zinc and amino acids and iron, omega amino acids, and iron are also very critical. When you are not getting enough protein, these are the nutrients that do get hit badly. So you want to pay attention to that. So how much does a sedentary adult require protein? As I told you previously, 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. Here we count in pounds. So let's say if I'm about 125 or 130 pounds, on an average anywhere between 55 to 56 kilos, then I would require 56 grams of protein. So a person who is about 60 kilograms will need 60 grams of protein. And this would be equivalent to about 2 glasses of milk, 1 bowl of cooked lentils for vegetarians, or 2 eggs and 3 pieces of fish or chicken for a non-vegetarian. So what are some of the, oops, I don't know why this went so far. Sorry. Computer is not helping me today. So some of the things that I really wanted to talk about was after protein was about the hormones. A lot of times, and this probably is applicable to a lot of the post-menopausal women, majority of the women that we are talking about here are probably post-menopausal also. So you want to make sure that your estrogen levels are very well balanced. If you've had an hysterectomy, or if you've had any surgeries where you do not have enough estrogen levels, this is a very, very important hormone in a woman's life in reproductive stage, also at a later stage. So when your estrogen levels are low, you could be at higher risk for heart disease also. And I have listed out a lot of foods here that you can get. On that same order, for men, estrogen, similarly, you've got the testosterone, which is another important hormone for the men that also needs to be equally paid attention to. And with age, the testosterone levels do go down, which can increase your risk for a lot of the other cancers. And that's why they say you have to check yourself for different types of cancers. And these are some of the foods that can help you with increasing or stabilizing the hormone. What I want to share with you is these foods don't directly have the hormone. You can't get the hormone from the food, but you can get the increase of the hormonal activity by eating these foods. So for example, if you increase flaxseed, you reduce the incidence of getting breast cancer because the estrogen levels are much balanced. If you increase soybean, you can actually increase estrogen levels. So now there are controversial studies that for men, estrogen levels have to be balanced. Otherwise, there could be concerns. So you have to be careful there also. Dried fruits, for example, can also increase the estrogen activity. And mainly infertility conditions or, breast cancer risk or decreased thyroid function, which can be applicable for both men and women here. Some of these foods will really help you balance the levels and maintain your thyroid level too. So the next thing I'm going to talk about here is about what is the next important hormone, progesterone. Progesterone is another important hormone, which is actually at a later time in your life. It may not be as active, but during pregnancy and during menopause, it's very, very critical. And increasing progesterone foods will balance this. So this presentation, I think, is going to be very helpful for a lot of your family members or younger women or friends or families or girls who are attaining puberty. Please share it with them. This is going to be a very useful presentation for many of them and for many around here also. So increasing the progesterone foods, like the ones that I've listed here, really helps maintaining your postmenopausal symptoms, premenopausal symptoms, and during your menstrual cycles too. What are the foods that really help here? I want to bring to your attention that some of these foods are both good for the men and the women, regardless of the age. I just want to emphasize where these foods come from, what are the nutrients that you get from them. So if you include a lot more fatty fish, the asparagus, the lentils, the avocados, the peppers in your foods, the green vegetables, you get more of your omega-3 and the omega-6, which is very, very important also for the brain function. But in women, especially, it's important for their reproductive cycle. Vitamin C, of course, very useful for common cold, but in specific for the progesterone hormone, it's very critical. So getting enough vitamin C from your fruits and vegetables is very important. Vitamin B, I do want to talk about this a little bit more. This is a water-soluble vitamin. Many a times, vegetarians are the ones who have a lack of the B vitamins, because a lot of it is washed away when we wash the vegetables, when we wash the fruits, when we wash our grains, when we wash our pulses. A lot of it is lost there. So you may want to keep a check on your neural concerns, if you've got any memory problems, especially with B12 vitamin, which is actually only produced mainly in animal products. If you're not getting sufficient B12, you may need to take B12 shots sometimes, because neurological problems do go up with B12 deficiency. But progesterone, specifically for that hormone that I was talking about, B vitamins are very critical, and they come from a lot of the foods that are listed out here. A lot of your grains, your lentils, and a lot of the veg and animal foods too. And of course, zinc, magnesium, very, very critical for common cold. But besides that, it is also important to ensure that you have fertility, proper fertility, especially for women. And it's shown that zinc is very, very important, even with sperm count for men too. So please pay attention to this. It is not something that's only addressing for women, even though this is geared towards, the presentation is geared for them. Zinc is also important for fertility count for men. Magnesium, strong muscles, you need more magnesium. So very important for good relaxation and contraction of your muscles. If you don't have sufficient magnesium in your diet, you're not going to have proper contraction and relaxation of these muscles. That's when you get muscle cramps. And in that same category, potassium and magnesium come together. Specifically for progesterone, these are all precursors. Yani ke, when you increase these vitamins or minerals in your food, they enhance the activity of these hormones. Finally, spices. If you know of anybody in your family who has got, stomach problems or cramps, abdominal cramps, especially during the menstrual cycles, young girls, please advise that they could use a little bit of primrose oil as one of a cure. They could add just a couple drops in their tea, or just put it in a little bit of water and drink it. They do see a lot of medicinal value with it, and there is a lot of research done with it also. But specifically for progesterone, primrose oil is very effective to enhance the progesterone activity. Last hormone that I'm talking about here is the thyroid hormone, which again, applicable both to men and women. Thyroid is the most neglected hormone, in my opinion. A lot of problems that concerns that come up, especially a study that I was reading in a very important journal. I found out that Asian Indians are more susceptible to thyroid problems than their other ethnic groups of their age, specifically because our food habits do change when we come to this country, especially when you've become immigrants. Not so much, sometimes maybe for the next generation too, but more specifically for immigrants who have come here many years ago. They have major concern with thyroid problems, and they're doing a lot more studies to understand why. Maybe it's because some of the food changes that happen, some of the soil depletion that happens that doesn't have enough iodine. And that is why there was, one time there was a concern in India that there is a belt of population where they used to have deficiency of iodine and thyroid issues. Personally, I would like to share a story about my own concerns with thyroid, where I had a thyroid cancer when I was 38, and I had to take the thyroid out. And now I do take thyroid medicines to keep it, from major concerns. But thyroid can be a neglected hormone, and it can cause a lot of issues with your metabolism. So you want to be careful about it and address it early on when you see hypo or hyperthyroidism. In women especially, you want to be careful about it, especially for the reproductive system and for weight loss concerns or for weight gain concerns and your metabolism. So what are some of the thyroid superfoods? This is one of the, like the sushi foods. I know that we don't, as Asian Indian descents, we may not be necessarily eating a lot of sushi foods, but even being a vegetarian, you can actually get some of these sushi foods. For example, seaweed, and now they're even coming out with seaweed juice, using it in different recipes. But this is typically a Japanese weed, that which is called kelp nori or wakame, and it's naturally rich in iodine, which really helps in proper regulation of your thyroid activity. The other important thing that I would like to concentrate here on are the nuts. So it's bristle nuts, and that's your light brown color, which is round, which is not marked there for you. The hazelnuts are the ones which look like beans, and the macadamia nuts are down below, which is actually darker brown in color. These nuts are specifically very helpful for thyroid activities. These you can actually get from your dark chocolate. If you want to kind of give your mouth a delicacy of dark chocolate with macadamia nuts or hazelnuts or any of these other nuts I'm talking about, that's probably a good way of getting some of your nuts. These nuts do have, an oily taste or a flavor. So by themselves, some people may like it, others may not. But if you salt these nuts, they are a bigger concern. So I would eat them just by itself. Buy it from the bulk foods and just eat about a half a teaspoon, or put it in your salads, or throw it in your, your oatmeal or something like that. It would really be helpful in terms of adding the thyroid superfoods. Finally, baked fish, dairy, and fresh eggs. Baked fish is not only good for women for the thyroid activity, but is also a very important food for increasing testosterone levels and keeping it at regulation for men. Any kind of fatty fish, in fact, is very, very helpful. It's got the omega-3 fatty acids. And also, if you are a vegetarian, you can get your omega-3 from flaxseed oil, from a lot of your seeds, from your lot of your oils, olive oil, for example. You can get your omega-3 and omega-6s. Lot of your dairy products will have good properties, the iodine that you need, because they are also fortified sometimes, the dairy products. And that is why, your fortified salt or your iodized salt, and even within dairy, there is a lot of good properties that increase your thyroid activities. So just eating a frozen yogurt or a regular yogurt can help increase your iodine activities. Fresh eggs are a great source of iodine and selenium, which is very, very helpful for protein levels. It's a complete protein. We have spoken about that earlier. So instead of eating multiple different vegetarian proteins, if you are a non-vegetarian, eating just one egg will be sufficient for you to take care of your getting your protein requirements as far as balancing all the amino acids. And please alert yourself that it is not because of eggs that your cholesterol goes up so much. It is more because of the saturated fats that you put in your diet. There was a big concern about eggs being in your diet and increasing your cholesterol. Yes, eggs do have saturated fat, but egg is not the main food that increases your cholesterol. There are other foods, especially in our country. It's mainly because we are so sugaraholic, we are so prone to eating high sugar foods, which increases triglycerides and thereby increases your cholesterol levels. Again, we spoke about, the different foods that we can eat. So how, in summary, if you want to eat right, and this really actually, in my opinion, will work for both men and women, I want to summarize how you can actually eat a healthy diet with 3 ounces of equivalent whole grains in your diet. At least add 3 servings of low-fat or fat-free dairy products in your diet. Add 5 to 5.5 ounces equivalent of protein foods. That's 3 ounces is the size of the inner of your palm. 1.5 to 2 cups of fruits a day. 2 to 2 cups or 2.5 cups of colorful vegetables, whether it's fresh vegetables, frozen vegetables, or cooked vegetables. Iron-rich foods. You want a lot of iron, especially women. Please be paying attention to your hemoglobin count. If you are below 10 or if you're below 9, you definitely want to increase your hemoglobin levels, and you want to increase your iron foods. Folic acid and folate foods. Dark green leafy vegetables, very, very important, especially postmenopausal women, older women, women above 50, above 60. Folate is very important during pregnancy as well as after, in the later years, to keep you at bay from cardiovascular disease or keep you protected there. Daily calcium levels is or vitamin D levels is also critical. Vitamin D anywhere from 400 to 800 IU. Get it checked with your doctor periodically. If it's anything less than that, you do need a supplement. Guidelines on added sugars, saturated fats, and alcohol. Always keep a tab on that. Saturated fat should not be more than 7 to 8 grams per day in your meals. Added sugar, anything that is, let's say, if a nutritional value of Nutri-Grain bar or energy bar has 45 grams of carbohydrates and 40 grams of it, if it is sugar, you do not want to eat that at one go, because you're getting almost 40 grams of sugar just with one particular food, where you could be getting it from fruits, from vegetables, from your grains, from your pulses, from your, a lot of the other carbohydrates which you may be lacking. So balance that. And alcohol, yes, the old French paradox still works, red wine, 2 ounces of red wine, but that doesn't mean that we splurge on it. We do want to be careful about the alcohol content and the sugar content in alcohol. Balance calories according to activities. Very critical here. When you see that you're reducing activities, especially during the winter seasons, during the fall seasons, when you're home, when you're sitting down, you do need to be careful about balancing your activities according to your physical activities, or balancing your calories according to your physical activities, I'm sorry, and also increase it if you are physically active. Ensure your second brain is always healthy. Goelji, what do you think is the second brain? I'm going to put you on the spot today and ask you, what do you think is your second brain? Which is your second brain in the body, Goelji? We have spoken about it in the past. Do you remember? Purnima, do you want to give an answer for him? Huh?
I missed that lecture.
You missed that lecture. Okay. I'm going to give you one more time. Your second brain is your gut. All your entire small intestine, large intestine, your spleen, your liver, all parts of the gut is your second brain. Okay. So if you keep your gut healthy, then your brain will stay healthy. So always, yeah. Thank you, Goelji, for immediately giving an answer. You're so alert.
Right.
Thank you. Okay. All right. And finally, physical activities. My dear women, stay physically active. Try to do different types of physical activities. You do need all 4 categories of physical activities. Endurance for more, power, more energy. Strength for more balance and more durability. Balance, of course, in order to avoid falls. Flexibility to be able to keep up with your agility and speed and everything. So all different types of physical activities, whether it's lifting dead weights, adding some resistance in your weights, doing yoga, doing walking, brisk walking. If you're a biker, you can bike. If you like dancing once in a while, go out dancing. If you would like to do Pilates, you like to do Zumba, you like to do, an activity with a friend, do any kind of, or chair yoga, all of these, but keep changing these activities. Don't only do one type of physical activities. Keep modifying these physical activities, because there is 4 different categories of physical fitness that we are concentrating on, which is endurance, strength, balance, and physical flexibility. And finally, we spoke about all these different things. You do have a list of references here, which you can always go back and look up. That's where I've got all my understanding and the presentation for you. I did want to, bring this to your attention only because I thought it was a really nice presentation. And I think it is going to be very useful for our people too. So once again, I really wanted to, focus on specifically bringing my expertise as a health coach and a registered dietitian, having worked with you for the last 1 year and doing so many different presentations. I just want to bring to your attention that the way that I could add value for you, individually, is if you do need any guidance with planning your diet. Let's say if you are looking to lose some weight, or you're looking to get some personal trainer to do some physical activities, and what should I eat, Lalita? Or if you've got a disease condition or an ailment that you are going through and you need some help with the diet, or if you need some health coaching with lifestyle modifications, I can definitely, be of guidance and be of help. Maybe I cannot address some of the conditions if it is, emotional or mental concerns, which may require other expertise, but I can definitely promise you that I could give you lifestyle coaching, health coaching advices, and, ensure that I'm able to make productive changes in terms of keeping you healthy and well. So once again, thank you so much. And I'm going to actually open the session now for doing some questions and answers. Geeta ji, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to open the ground for questions. I know we've had a lot of talking today and a lot of sharing today. So first of all, because it's Diwali time, I want all of you to ensure that you eat the right portions, whether it is savories, whether it's sweets. Be careful about how much you eat. Don't overdo it. At the same time, definitely enjoy your Diwali with all the savories and sweets with your family. Thank you so much to India Home for this beautiful opportunity for the last 1 year. I have thoroughly enjoyed every session with all of you, and I look forward to more. But we will find out in the near future, how we're going to continue and take on this journey further. But once again, a big round of applause to Geeta ji and Kavita ji and Dr. Rao for making this happen and allowing me to share my knowledge and understanding with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lalita ji. Thank you.
Sure. So if any questions, do you have any questions, comments, any remarks? Tell me that you didn't understand something, or please, Lalita, can you explain this? If there is anything, I'm open for any discussions. We've got about 15 minutes, right, Geeta ji?
Yes.
Hi,
Lalita
ji, this is me.
I have a question.
Yes. Who's asking the question? Please, if you can introduce yourself.
My name is Chanda Mehta, and
Okay.
I want to know when you talk about thyroid, for hypo or hyper, is it the same medicine that you use, or there is any difference? I know doses are different, but the medicine.
Well, the thyroxine, they give you the precursor, the thyroxine, which is one of them. But there are 2 levels, the T3 and the T4 levels that they also check. Depending on your levels, they may give, supplements, or they may give medicines that reduce the thyroid, or they will reduce the dosage to regulate that level. The reason why the hyper or the hypo happens is because of two different levels, the T3 and the T4. So one of them, and there could be a lot of other factors also. So depending on where you are, and hypo leads to a lot of metabolism concerns where your metabolism goes lower. Hyper and increases your metabolism, and it makes you hyperactive also a lot of times.
Correct, yes.
And so for me, for example, I had a hyperactive thyroid, and I was producing more thyroid. So when I ended up producing more thyroid, they had to take it out because it was causing the cancer and the growth. And this can be a similar condition for a lot of people. So depending individual people, I don't want to go into the clinical aspects of it because that's not my expertise. But as far as foods are concerned, Rita ji, you definitely want to eat the foods that I've talked about. But if you have hyperthyroid activities, you do not want to eat too much of those. For example, if you're taking thyroid medicines, they do recommend that you don't eat too much of the cruciferous vegetables like cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli. They do say you have to be careful with those because it kind of
are things for the hyper or hypo.
Correct. Hyper
or hypo.
No, I'm talking about hyper.
Okay.
So when you have hypo, the foods that I talked about here are definitely going to be helpful for you to increase it.
But I think medicine is saying they use, right? For hyper.
I may not be able to give you a complete justice answer to that, and I don't want to also, but I can find out for you and let you know.
Please? Right.
Absolutely. I will do that, and I will send the message to Geeta ji. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Happy Diwali.
No, this is Dr. Nagaraj.
Yes. Yes, Dr. Nagaraj.
If she's asking hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism, the medicines are different. One is given to block more thyroxine. The other one is given to increase the thyroxine level. So hypothyroidism, you get thyroxine hormone, either T3 or T4 in tablets. But if it is hyperthyroidism, we give them something to block the thyroxine, which is the one which has the values for cabbage and things like that, which block the hormone levels. So they are entirely different treatments.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Nagaraj. So Rita ji, I hope that was answering your question.
No, my question is totally different.
No. There was no.
Chanda,
Rita ji,
that was
one more.
Chandaji's question. Yeah.
Oh, that was Chandaji's question.
Yes.
Sorry. Chandaji, I think Dr. Nagaraj gave you the answer. Thank you so much, Dr. Nagaraj, for filling in. I'm so glad you were there. I should have actually asked if we have any doctors on board, please give an answer. So this is something new I learned today. So once again, from what Dr. Nagaraj was saying is, I'm going to summarize it, that if it is the hypo levels, they give a different type of treatment. And if it's the hyper levels, they give a different type of treatment. The medications are different. And also, in one case, they reduce the activity of the T3 or the T4. In one case, they increase the activity. But the cruciferous vegetables is asked to avoid because when they take it, they may block the activities of some of those. That is why they ask you to avoid it. Is that correct, Dr. Nagaraj?
Yeah, I was muted. Yeah, I think that's the correct inference.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for pitching in. Okay, Rita ji, you had a question.
Josna ji, 1 minute Rita.
Okay.
Yes, Rita ji.
My question is regarding B12 vitamin. If it becomes too much in your body, what you or somebody else supposed to do that?
Good question. So this is specifically through your blood work that you found out that B12 is high?
Yes.
Well, I would say be more watchful about consuming a lot of, are you a vegetarian?
Yes.
Okay. Have you been taking B12 vitamins or supplements?
That's the issue. I'm not.
Okay. I specifically am not aware what they do to reduce the B12 vitamin, because I think it's a water soluble vitamin. I think it has to be a natural process in which it has to probably go down. I don't think there are any blockers for it, but I may not be aware. Maybe Dr. Nagaraj is a better person to give an answer here also, or any other people who are experts there, or pharmaceuticals experts. But that is a good question, and something that I need to probably find out, that if you have a high B12, but I would be definitely careful about consuming a lot of the dairy products then, Rita ji, because
Okay.
most of your dairy products, most of your any of the any of the products that's milk based or yogurt or any of those has got a lot of B12. So you want to be careful there.
Even the dry nuts, and if she is a non-vegetarian, it is the meat.
Yeah,
That
that's
has
what
a
I was
lot of
telling
meat,
Dr.
yeah.
Nagraj, but it looks like Rita ji is not a non-vegetarian. She's a pure vegetarian.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe
but
some of the nuts consumption too.
nut
Yeah, I eat
consumption.
lot of nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
because-
Rita ji, stop being a squirrel now.
I'm nut about nuts.
You're so funny. Well, that's so cute that you express it and that you find out. Maybe that's your culprit. Maybe you need to reduce your nut intake then.
Oh,
So that is why I always say that one thing that works for one person doesn't work for the other person. You have to personalize your nutrition. You have to personalize what you eat and see what works for you. So Rita ji, take out all the nuts.
No, not
We'll
all.
try. Thank you.
Not all of them, but be more mindful, Yaniki.
Yeah, I understand. Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay. Sure, anytime.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Anytime, anytime.
Lalita ji, my
Ji.
name is Jyotsna. Thyroid from cabbage and cauliflower, right?
Not,
And,
you don't get, Jyotsna ji, you don't get thyroid problems with cabbage and cauliflower directly. When you have when you are taking medicines, they ask you to avoid some of those vegetables in excess in consumption, because क्या होता है जब वो medicine हम खाते हैं, when you take those vegetables, उनके जो activity होते हैं, जो medicines के activity होते हैं, वो कम पड़ जाते हैं. So they ask you to not take those vegetables.
but I am taking every day thyroid synthroid tablet. Then do I eat thyroid vegetable? Then can I quit that medicine?
Ha! You are putting me on the spot, Jyotsna ji. Don't do this.
No, why no? Why not?
That is a very critical question, but not being a medical doctor, I would not say stop the medication. The reason why those medicinal doses, see, a lot of times when we are given medicines, at least this is my understanding, being a healthcare professional myself, they concentrate all of that in one particular pill, which works much more faster than it works with a lot of fruits and vegetables. Because the amount you need when your levels are really low is a lot more than a person who doesn't have it low. So it could be that you could get it every day from vegetables, or it couldn't be that you get it from vegetables. So having that extra medication just gives you that edge over being deficient in some way or form. समझे आप what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I समझी, मैं समझ गई, but I'm taking so many tablets. That's why I want to quit synthroid tablet.
Yeah,
That's
you come and ask my father-in-law, he's 89, he will say the same thing. I'm saying, why should I take thyroid? I don't need it. I'll just get everything from food. Sometimes you have to take it. Sometimes you have to take it in that concentrated form, in that pharmaceutical dosage, because you're not able to get enough from it from the food. Because if you were able to get it, then your blood will not be showing low levels of thyroid. Samjhe na?
Yeah, समझी.
And that could be a problem for your heart.
Jyotsna ji, even
Yeah.
if you take the you take the necessity foods, sometimes your body cannot convert it. You know, you don't get it directly as a hormone. You get the what we call as precursors, means your body's what is necessary to build the hormone, but your body may not be able to build it. That's why
Yeah.
you need that, especially thyroxine is a very important hormone for your body. You get fat if you don't have enough thyroxine.
Okay.
Also, Dr. Nagaraj, isn't it very critical, especially after post-menopause, with the thyroid levels for women for heart disease?
Yeah, to keep the level appropriately, because it's very important for muscle metabolism to
Correct.
keep your muscles in good strength.
Yeah.
And it has a whole lot of body functions, not just one. It's a very important hormone. Your whole body metabolism is that, and you sometimes you cannot make it enough. And that's why they check the levels and they give you enough medicine to keep it. Sometimes you have to go to it lifelong, you have to take it.
Yeah, I've been taking it for the last, I got my thyroid cancer when I was 38 and I take it diligently every day. So I have my box here. So yeah, Jyotsna ji, you have to take it with me. Give me company.
Yeah. But when I wake up, I'm taking a thyroid tablet first, Synthroid. That's why I want to quit that tablet. If you,
I know. I wish.
Doctor says no. No. Doctor will tell no. You take medicine. But I'm asking you.
You're putting me on the spot. You will go tell them Lalita ji ne bola ki medicine mat lo, and the doctor will come and hit me. Don't do this.
That's why I'm asking you.
Nay, please.
Say,
I am not the authority to tell you to stop any medicines. My job is to educate you about food, nutrition, and wellness and well-being. That being said, when there are medical conditions that requires immediate attention, pharmaceutical conditions when requires immediate attention, that is why you need to talk to the respective people. If you come and ask me about technical concerns with a computer, I will not know anything about it. If you go and ask a software engineer about nutrition, he may not know enough about it. That is why talk to your experts and talk to the right people. Am I right, Dr. Nagaraj?
Yes. No, but sometimes doctors do overdo it. You can keep a balance by knowing exactly what it is, because not all doctors are gods.
That's true. That is very true.
You have to also critically look at what they give you. Is it correct? Am I taking it right way? But thyroxine, why I told her, is very important medicine that you need to. I'm sure they're doing levels at some point.
Correct.
So if the levels are necessarily proper, then you have to keep it up, because your body is not able to make it.
Yes. And somebody has asked me, I think Neelam ji has asked me the details for my email address, and nurturetheartist@gmail.com is my email address, and my phone number is also available there in the chat box for those of you who need it. But of course, you can always contact Geeta ji or Kavita ji to keep in touch. Dr. Nagaraj, on that account, how did you find all of these presentations? As a medical expert, how did you find this useful for the Indian, the India home people and for yourself?
It's very useful, because I know how we can adapt ourselves from what we have learned from before, especially the balancing part of it. We tend to eat one more or the other more. So that balancing part is very important. That's what you were stressing upon.
Correct.
It's very good.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nagaraj. That really feels
You're
good.
You're welcome, Lalita.
Yeah.
So, I always listen from beginning to end, because I want to know exactly.
Thank you so much. Yes, I think one more person is probably we can give.
Lalita ji, you told me, this is Kiran. You told us a oil to put in the tea for the stomach issues. What was the name of that oil?
It's called Primrose Oil. PRIM, Primrose. ये जो presentation हम कर रहे हैं, this will be available for you on YouTube, Kiran ji.
Okay, cream rose oil you said.
नहीं, Prim, P for Peter, R for Roger, I for India, M for Mary, Rose, Primrose.
Okay.
G. Okay, all of you, once again, wish you all a very dhamaka, happy, lovely Diwali. Hugs and lots of love to you. Have a load of fun. Enjoy with your family. Eat a lot of namkeen, eat a lot of sweets. But please be careful. Think about Lalita when you eat your second laddu and second jalebi, because you have to be careful. So,
Thank you.
wishing
Happy
all
Diwali to all.
Happy Diwali.
Thank you.
Thank